20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city. Give me the mic. Rep your city. I got you. Rep your city. I'm gonna tell you about mine. Rep your city.
It's time for us to go live, so rep your city. I really would appreciate if y'all roll with me. Feeling this music cause it makes me wanna step. And if you don't want to, then you lying to yourself. Cause every time we party, we gon' have fun. I don't know about you, but I'ma rep where I'm from.
Rep your city. Okay. Rep your city. Let me see the mic. Rep your city.
Give me the mic.
Rep your city.
Welcome to the RYC Live show this evening. I am Artistic, your host for tonight, and this is Rep Your City RYC Live Fresh Friday. So how is everyone doing out there in the land, Chicagoland, USA, and around the world? We're coming to you live, broadcasting right here in the windy city of Chicago. It's a nice, beautiful Friday night. And we do this each and every Friday night at 8 p.m. live broadcasting right here directly from Chicago, but we circulate around the world. So I want to send a shout out to my homeboys around the way from my crew, Siron Nation, Rep Your City family, RYC Live family. Shout out to Mr. RYC Live himself. And Lady Alicia and the rest of our team, and all of you out there, our viewers. We want to thank you so much for continually showing support and love over the years. It's been an honor and a privilege to be able to sit here and share these stories and talk about our history and just the creativity of all of our artistry, along with all of the many artists, wonderful artists that we deal with here in Chicago and around the world. So as you know, tonight, we have another special guest in the building. He's in the backstage area right now. I am very excited to talk to this brother. We're going to be talking about some great things tonight on the B-boy side, on the music side, and just hip hop in general. Maybe even some house culture history as well. But nevertheless, we always try to bring it to you the best way we know how. So with that being said, this is my brother. His name is Caruso Lockett, a.k.a. Siron. He was a part of a crew called the Chicago Midnight Rockers from back in the day, popping and locking and breaking. You know what I'm saying? And also a dual crew, the Untouchable Two. So, I'm very interested. We already kind of had a little pre-interview, and some of the stuff that we shared, just a fraction of what we talked about, has already been very interesting to my liking. And we know you all are going to love it too. If you love Chicago hip hop, you're at the place where you need to be. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my brother, my man, who is a legend, and I'm going to be learning tonight about his history. So I'm excited, that my heart is pounding to hear some of these things that he's going to be sharing. Right now, please take this time to share this broadcast. Share the broadcast to your friends, to your family, to your crew. Let people be able to enjoy the broadcast right along with you. And if you have any comments for my brother, any questions, you can please put those in the comment area. Engage with us. Don't just sit back and watch the broadcast, but engage with us. Hit the like button, hit the love button. Once again, hit the share button and ask us questions. Ask us questions because this is for us, by us, and this is for you. So without further ado, my brother Caruso Lockett, aka Siron.
What's up, world?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up? Hey man, it's an honor, baby. I don't even know how to. I'm stumbling at the words already, man. I'm just so excited to be here, man. I appreciate y'all for this, man.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So hey, man, welcome to the RYC Live show.
Thank you.
Yes,
all love.
Yes. And, one thing that I would like to say before we get into the interview is, first off, just thank you, man, for taking the time out to carve a little bit of your time to share with myself and the rest of the world. Because, again, like we said before, this is important. I don't really know if people understand the importance of doing this right now before it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Because, people are getting sick, people are getting older, and people are dying. And, obviously,
including us.
Right. And, obviously, once you're dead, we can't sit down and talk like this. So, sure. It's a good thing to be able to leave these milestones for the up and coming generation so that they have something to look forward to. I feel like some of the generation of the youth today are not really going in great directions because we're not connected enough with them.
Right. And, it's not being passed down. Yeah. The history.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that should never be, we love this thing too much. I got in trouble many a nights. You and I were talking earlier about sneaking out the house and being gone for long periods of time. And that's what we had to do. That's what we had to do to cultivate this culture.
Yeah. And you know what? That was a part of the game. That's what it was. Yeah. We had to, I crawled out the window. We lived on the ground floor in what we call the new buildings or the orange doors. So I had to crawl out the window, and try to be back by 5 a.m. You know what I mean? So, hey, sometimes it happens. Sometimes I got whooped with extension cord. Sometimes it got back before my mom even knew about it. You know what I mean? So,
So let's do this, man. Let's go all the way back to what you can remember in terms of you getting in the game. What year was it that you started as a dancer, in the hip hop community? And what element did you start? Well, was it the dance element first for you?
Yeah, I started, I went to a school called George Manier, which was a really rough school in a low income area. It was in the Town and Garden homes right down the street from Cabrini Green housing projects. And the Illinois State Council gave a grant to all of the low-income schools to provide professional people to come in and take low-income children or unfortunate kids, if you will, to bring them over and teach them trades and disciplines like music, piano, drama, art, dance, okay? And so I had just happened to be one of the kids that got picked. It was a guy named Mr. Bosley that picked a certain handful of kids out of Manier and brought us over to a school called Franklin at the time that ended up becoming Franklin Fine Arts Center. And in that school, you had the opportunity to pick from the classes what discipline you wanted to do, whether it was drama or art. Some guys picked, art, some guys picked music, some guys picked piano. Well, mine was the piano and dancing. Because I knew I could, everybody knew Michael Jackson. We knew how to lock and do the robot. You know what I mean?
Right.
We do the robot and all that. So when I went into this class, the people saw I could dance and I realized, man, I could do this. Plus it was women all over the place. Mm-hmm. It was around the time of Fame and all that. We see these women in fishnet stockings and tights and stuff.
Now, for reference for our viewers, timeline wise, there was the movie that came out called Fame, and then there was the TV series.
It was the movie.
Okay, so the movie came out in 1980. So that's what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, it was actually between 79 and 80.
Okay.
When they started that. Okay. And it was also a musical out called All That Jazz. Okay. I don't know if you remember that. And all of those performers came to this school and started teaching, the less fortunate kids, so to speak. Right. And they happened to notice a few of us could really dance without having any of the real training, ballet and all that stuff. because
Right.
we were just, black people, we raw talent. We
Yeah.
natural. It's natural for us to just imitate or do what you're doing. If you can do it, I can do that.
Right.
So they start doing all these pirouettes and jumps and stuff, and I looked at, so I can do that, and I did it. So that's what got me in the class. Now within this class, I met other people from the community that I came from our neighborhood, basically, and that's when breaking started to cultivate. It started becoming big in Chicago. You had Sugar Hill Gang out. I'm sorry, it's a plane going by, and I'm on my balcony, so
no problem.
Yeah, Sugar Hill Gang came out, and it was the Get Fresh crew came out, B-Boys, all these Run DMC, I think that was like early 80s, like 81, 82, somewhere between there. And we started picking up this, and all of those guys that were dancers, plus guys outside of the school from other schools, we started popping and breaking in talent shows. Okay. And that's how I started getting into breaking itself.
Okay.
All I could do was a backspin up to my head at that time and little feet work, footwork.
Now let me ask you, you mentioned Fame, and I remember Fame too, that was definitely an influence on me. But at any time the television program called Soul Train, did you watch that at all? Was that an influence at all for you?
Hell yeah. Every Saturday, man. Every Saturday my mom would clean up the house and we'd watch Soul Train. Okay. And I remember seeing people like Shalimar, Stylistics, I saw the Isley Brothers on there. And that was also, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I didn't think about that. That was another subliminal teaching for me as far as dancing. Okay. Because back then you had your parents would dance, and we would have the spank, the bump, the Earl Flynn, we had all these dances, and in my house every weekend the house would be full because my parents would throw parties. Okay. Where people smoke, drink, and play cards, play bid whist and stuff, and they, be dancing and bopping because there wasn't no stepping in. Yeah. Wasn't no stepping, it was bopping. Okay. So of course, me 4, 5, 6 years old, I'm sitting there watching that, and that's what I used to get into that school, that whole thinking, that thought process, that philosophy, if you will, that understanding of what dance and rhythm and movement was about. Okay. And I tell you, the brother, not to talk so much, but the Brothers Johnson, they had that song, "I'll Be Good to You." Good. Yeah. Man, I saw that on Soul Train. I get the pencils and be playing that, and that also formed a lot of my rhythm. Songs in the Key of Life with Stevie Wonder, Maze, Golden Time of Day, and Happy Feelings, all of that, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I remember when all that came out, 75, 76, all that helped me to cultivate an ability in me that I didn't know until I did that audition at Franklin School at the time. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
That's very interesting, man. So let's walk the viewers through this development, because, for example, here's a point that some people may or may not know. But Michael Jackson did perform for Motown, the 25th anniversary of Motown in 1983. And he did his thing. It was a solo performance. And he did his thing. It was broadcast on TV, television. I don't even know how many millions of people watched it at the time.
Oh, but, millions, baby. Yeah.
Millions. But I remember when he did what originally was called the backslide, but it went on to become more known as the moonwalk. A lot of people thought he created that. And and this is why this is so important to kind of get terminology straight and clear the airwaves, so to speak, because most people don't know that Michael Jackson, after he moved to California, he started training with the street dancers in LA.
That's right.
And
yes, sir.
That's how he learned how to do a lot of the popping moves and a lot of the moves, the robot and all of that. He was learning from the guys in California, from the street dancers.
Yep. He was mimicking them. Yeah.
Well, he what I'm saying is he literally started working with them. Like you heard that we lost recently. We lost the legend popper named Poppin' Taco. Have you heard about
favorite
that?
Pop? Yeah. Yep, that's one of my favorites, bro. One of my favorites.
Poppin' Taco was a legend, right?
Absolutely, man.
Poppin' Taco used to train Michael Jackson.
Now that I didn't know.
Yes.
I didn't know that. Because I was under the impression that he learned the moonwalk and some of his skills from the guy that danced with Shalimar.
He did. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. So he worked with Jeffrey Daniel. He worked with
Jeffrey
Poppin' Taco. Yeah, he worked with Poppin' Taco. He worked with Boogaloo Shrimp. You know what I'm saying? He worked with probably about a half. Yes.
He worked with Boogaloo Shrimp.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. Like he worked with at least a dozen street dancers to learn that street style that we were doing on the street.
Yes, sir.
You know, like Michael Jackson was already creative and he was like a sponge. You know, I seen an interview with him where he said as a kid he was studying James Brown. So that's how he learned how to do a lot of the fancy footwork as a kid.
Yeah.
But when he starts seeing, like if you look at that short video clip of Thriller, and I remember when I first seen it, and I was like, he got some poppers in the video.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? I said,
doing coke.
Yeah.
Coke and stuff like that. I was like, hey, man. And you know that didn't do nothing but influence us to go out on the street and take that and create it and put it in our own routine. You know. So that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Is he worked with them. So those guys was teaching him. Michael was even paying some of those guys to privately teach him lessons on how to do what he was observing them do. You know, so wow. there's about at least a dozen brothers that he worked with over the course of time for him to get the moves that he got. You know, because Michael was from Gary, Indiana. Yeah, which is really here. You said it right, which is really us. Yeah. You know, he called Chicago home too. He knew he was, influenced by us. I mean, he got his start in a shot. Yeah. You know, that's where they noticed him. But you know, Mike, I was like that, a sponge. I was that kind of guy, sponge. Where, like I told you before, previous to the interview, I was able to look at people and go, I got it. You know, I can do that. I got it. But for me, and I think the same for Mike, it was not just the melanin part of it, but it was also that spirit, that energy that's inside of us, bro. Yeah. When we start when you feel that, you can't stop it. You can't control it. It just comes out. It's almost equivalent to when you in a party and the music is terrible, and then all of a sudden you hear a song, you're like, oh, wait a minute. And you start moving, not even really knowing you're moving. The next thing you know, you're moving your head because the music has done something to you. It's gotten to your spirit. And that's what it was for me, just like Mike and a lot of the guys that I performed with. Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about your development as a dancer in the early days. Because again, we're going all the way back to the early 80s. So even though you were getting some professional training and things of that nature, but what most people don't know, and for those that do, they always looked at street dancing as not technically a professional dance.
Right.
Because
that's especially back then.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like back
especially
then, he's just, he's doing it to have fun, okay, that's good. Right. But I mean, for those that may not know, breakdancing has gone to the Olympics now. So 2024, they'll be featuring breakdancing as a part of the rest of the curriculum with all the other sports activities.
And rightfully so. Because, hey, man, that is, breakdancing is a creative art that is, I looked at the history of it. We've been doing it way before now. It just wasn't called breakdance.
Right.
It started, you can trace it back, and you have video footage of people in Africa who were doing moves like that, movements. Yep. And to this day, different tribes were doing that to represent their ancestors and their spirits, calling them in a spiritual confound, in a profundity of spirituality. So it's rightfully so to be in the Olympics at this time. It should be even beyond that, if you ask me.
Right.
It should be featured. We've moved right with hip hop. Hip hop is known all around the world. Remember, hip hop, hip hop was the street stuff back in the day. You remember that?
Yeah.
You know, nobody wanted to hear that, man. You was hearing, SOS band on the radio. You wasn't hearing like what we hearing right now. You know what I mean?
And it was almost embarrassing to introduce it because, like you said, sometimes if you got in a talent show, people were used to the traditional stuff that they were seeing at the time, like you say, tap dancing and things of that nature. But if you came in there and they said, "What are you gonna do?" and you're like, "I'm a rap," they're like, "Oh yeah."
No, we don't do street stuff here. We don't do that street stuff, bro. Bag that up somewhere else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Man. And we kind of ran into that. We kind of ran into that through different situations. When I was performing and stuff at different, with Joseph Holmes and taking these classes with all these professional choreographers, every so often within the rehearsal, we'd get 15-minute breaks and we would go on the corner and do little moves, you know what I mean? Because it's a dance hall. That's what we're supposed to do. So we like, when we go after this, we're going to go break and we're going to do this. And they tell us to stop doing that. The teacher would say, hey, you can't do that in here because it wasn't respected.
Yeah.
They didn't understand the methodology that was being created and performed at the time. Right. They couldn't see that. You know what I mean? Guys spinning on their head and all kind of stuff. And was tripped out. I was in the Nutcracker at 11 years old.
Okay.
And in the Nutcracker, I performed at McCormick Place. And in the Nutcracker, those Russian dancers or the guys who were performing the Russian dance, they were doing moves like that.
Wow.
Because it was traditional for them.
Wow.
It was traditional for them. And they, in my opinion, historically, that came from the motherland, Africa.
Yes.
They saw that. All those moves that they're doing today, that came from there.
Yeah.
And they were doing that. And I'm like, what? They ain't gonna let us do this over here, but they gonna let them do that. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So
and that's why it's important for us to have these discussions and encourage our young brothers and sisters to connect, because there's a disconnection right now. That's why a lot of people are saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and no, that's not professional or whatever, because they have kind of broken the connection. You know what I'm saying? They have separated us in so many ways that
and we've allowed it too. Yeah.
So, and to me, and I'm quite sure most people will agree, hip hop is that's why I love it so much, because hip hop has been a tool to kind of bridge the gap on that connection.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, now they got trap and all that, but within that, there's still an artistic point of view. There's still an artistic story. Now, I favor old school because that's where I came from. That's the format that I came from. But I can understand where they are today, and I respect that. You know what I mean? I respect what they do today, and it is a bridge. Yes. However, it's not a bridge that is closely knitted, but is closely respected. Okay. In so many words. I mean, we still can understand and feel where they're coming from, even though it may be a little to the right sometime or a little to the left, but we still can understand they're expressing themselves in a creative format. But at the height of the 80s, when breaking really started in Chicago, the best city in the world, I haven't seen it like that ever again. I haven't seen it like that in that early 80s arena of breaking on you could go anywhere in the city and ride down on the bus or get off on the L 63rd, 47th, Armitage, Fullerton, and run into Cruz. And I've
been saying that for years.
For years, bro. It's been like that for years. Yeah. You can go anywhere. I mean, me and my brother, we used to ride down. We used to get, I don't remember the lines. I think it was a red line or something, but we would get on the train downtown and ride all the way south and catch the bus all the way back and hit every crew. I don't care if it was two guys, one guy, a small 5-6-year-old kid or a 20-year-old dude. We was getting out there like, y'all want to battle?
Yeah.
What y'all want to do?
So let's talk about the development of you and your homeboy Swan with the crew, and then we'll go into the other crew, the Chicago Midnight Rockers. So let's talk about the development of that.
So, you know, at the time I explained to you about all the dancing and stuff. They had talent shows, and in those talent shows, I was tap dancing at the time, okay, in the talent show. And I ran into this brother named Swan, who was a Michael Jackson imitator, you know, because it was around the time when he did that Billie Jean solo thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a mutual friend named Hutch. And Hutch was also in the talent show. And this was a bad dude, man. When I say this brother was a top of the line ticker. You know, he had these moves, man, where it just looked animated. He could
that's what I was just gonna say. Animation,
yeah, animated. I mean, it looked like electricity was going through this brother's body, and I know it's like it seems like I'm exaggerating, but trust me, those who were there and those who knew him knew this guy was probably one of the coldest tick masters in the country. I'd put money on it. So he actually won the talent show ticket. And we talking about 100 people from the neighborhood. And you know, the neighborhood ain't gonna bullshit you. They gonna tell you, man, that was garbage, that was hot garbage, or that was cold-blooded. And, you know, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So we kind of, you know, and we wasn't mad because we all loved each other. You know, we all grew up together, went to school together and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, make a long story short, we go down into this gym and we start showing our moves because we wanted to dance with this dude named Hutch. Swan started doing his crabs. We wasn't really into breakdancing at the time. We was just getting into it. And Rocket was out. Remember Rocket by Herbie Hancock?
Herbie Hancock, yes, sir.
Yeah. So we put that on and we started doing it. Well, I could do a little popping and I could spin on my back and turn on my head and then lay flat. You know what I mean? Like slam on my back, almost like a suicide.
Yes.
Okay. Remember suicides?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I would do that. So we started hooking up every once in a while, and we would go up on Rush Street. Okay, that's where we started on Rush Street at the Rupert's Game Room, which was huge in Chicago, historical benefit to our history. We would go up there, and there'd be other crews up there, but it'd be a lot of BDs, and Black Gangs Disciples, and Blackstones, and we were from Sesame Street, which was All's Well, and they were from the Wild End, which was All's One. Folks and peoples at the time.
Right. So
sometimes we would have confrontation, and we wasn't really trying to get into that. I mean, we had to throw them every once in a while, but we was like, we good, we good. And like I said, later on in this interview, I'll show you how that all came together as well. So then we moved from there and moved up to Michigan Avenue. Now, Jesse White had a tumbling team, okay? And at one of the talent shows, Jesse White had some guys who were pop lockers called the Pop-O-Matics, right? Okay. And I'm gonna hate on them right now because I knew our crew was better than them, and they would pop, and their whole style would be they curls pop, that like Jack in the Box. They ain't really had no skills. So Hutch, me, and Swan took them guys out at one of Jesse White Tumblr's performances at a carnival. All right, we just went up there and said, hey, let's just take this over. While they were performing, from that point on, we became a crew. Okay. And then there was a couple other guys, Cook and Daddy-O, Daryl and Hen, Connie and it was Connie, Hen, and Daryl, Cook, and Daddy-O. And it was Mark Swinger. You know Mark Swinger that made the song On My Mama?
Nah, I'm not sure. I'm not.
You know it's a hip hop song out called "On My Mama."
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
His name is Mark Swinger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was with us.
Wow.
He was a shorty that popped with us, and he was a tap dancer too. He did ballet and all that stuff too.
Wow.
And we all became a crew. Went on Michigan Avenue at the Ice Cream Castle, which is the water tower that survived the Chicago fire.
Yes.
And that crew started making money and became very popular. and started attracting people from different parts of the city. Floor Masters, Rocksteady Crew, Knickerbockers, Tidal Wave, Street Patrol. It was a couple of other crews too, I can't remember. But they would all come up, and it'd be like 2 or 3 from each crew that would join us. So we would end up with like 15, 20 people rocking together every Friday and Saturday. And sometimes we'd skip school on Monday and Tuesday and be up there. And we'd be making big time dollars. For us back then, $300-$400 a night, even $200 was a lot of money.
As it was. Yeah.
And so that's how we became the Chicago Midnight Rockers / Breakers.
Gotcha.
That's how that crew came together. I hope I gave justice to that, because
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what we're gonna do right now is we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're gonna pick up where we left off and get into some more details. But so far so good. You're watching the RYC Live show. This is Rep Your City Fresh Fridays, and we will return in just a moment. I want to do this. I want to turn off this music I got in the background here, and let's see here. There we go. All right, so we will be right back after these few commercial breaks here. So give me one moment here. All right.
If you want to see them, make sure they see you. Local to Global is a full-service film video production and marketing company that emphasizes on high-quality, brand-focused content to boost brand awareness through marketing, advertising, and broadcast media. Everyone has a story. Let us tell yours. We are Local to Global Production.
Welcome back to the RYC Live Show. I am Artistic, your host for tonight, and this is our special guest, Caruso Lockett, aka Siron. So, hey, listen,
What up,
man.
people?
I was just thinking as you were talking prior to the commercials about how much of an impact those days had on us as youths. Because I think that if we didn't have that, we could have got in a lot of other trouble as young people, But because we had something to attach ourselves to, I believe that, and many people have this as a testimony. They'll say, well, hip hop saved my life, and especially coming up in a city full of gangs, the gang culture was pretty much predominant in all of the neighborhoods throughout Chicago, no matter what part of the city you lived in. I grew up primarily with the Gangster Disciples, but the thing that, and again, this is pure testimony, I had this as a protection because, sometimes you have peer pressure from people saying, hey, come join us because, they want to, the streets want to kind of, engulf you,
Oh, absolutely.
But if you have
but
talent,
you know what? We done with using GDD. We done with the interview, man.
But now hear this. So that was my neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, the gangs didn't attract me. You know what I'm saying? Like I had people on my block that was, repping that, but that wasn't. Right. It didn't move me, But what was cool, and like I said, this was a protection in my opinion, because they would say, oh, that's homeboy that be breakdancing. That's homeboy that be doing that graffiti.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our boy.
Yeah.
Let him come on through.
Pass.
Let him. Yeah.
So, back then, entertainers and athletes kind of got a pass, on certain things. You could go certain places, but I tell you, when I was growing up, the Blackstone Nation was impressive to me. It was inspiring to me. That's what I was going for the whole time. And hip is a good thing that you mentioned that, because the talent shows were predominantly at Sewell Park, Lower North Center, Olivet Community Center, and those were areas where gangbangers could, that was part of their territory. And we also played in basketball tournaments, the 18th district basketball tournament with all the grammar schools, and we would have to go in these different areas all the time. Now at Sewell Park, it was a lot of Cobra Stones, they were called at the time, better known now as Mickey Cobras. But back then they were Cobra Stones, and we can go over there, and when any GDs or BGDs at the time would come over there, hey, it's gonna be one. It's gonna go down. But because I was an entertainer, breakdancer, entertainer, dancer, period, a lot of times they would say, man, leave that little nigga alone, blah, 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 let them keep walking. Then they say, you better get your little bad ass out of here before you get that beat down. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of times, like I cock my hat to the left now because that's where I came from. Back in the day, I would do that. So I would have to go through that. You know what I mean? Right. I would have to go through that permission. If some guys wouldn't give you that pass, so you had to, you had to go every once in a while.
Yeah.
But Artistic, let me tell you a story, man.
Go ahead.
We did a. You remember a place called Janelle's?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they had a talent show up there. So me and my brothers, Swan and Siron, the Untouchable Two, went up there with these two Puerto Rican dudes. There was a group called Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
We went up there and took the talent show, right?
Okay.
50 Spanish Cobras surrounded us when we left because we won that talent show.
Really?
Yes, sir. Now, if anybody knew Swan was the type that thought he was Bruce Lee.
Okay.
He would try to fight everybody, and because of him standing up to that, and because of the fact that they knew we were better than all the other breakdancer groups there, we got up out of that. Just to support what you're saying. Sometimes we got to pass on that.
Yes. Yes.
But at the time, it's four of us, Salt and Pepper and Untouchable Two, bagged up against the wall of Janelle's with a whole parking lot full of freaking Spanish Cobras. I mean, it's all Spanish Cobras out there, bro. We stuck
Right.
there like, damn. I'm 14 years old. I'm scared in the mother. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared as hell. But I'm not showing that. You know what I mean? I'm not showing that.
Right.
So Swan steps up and he like, yeah, we from over here. Yeah, what up? Because they told us to take off our shoes. They told us to take off our clothes because we had on, you know, I had Pumas on. I had like blue Pumas with fat red strings in them. You know, that's the style then. And sometimes when I pop, I step out the shoes, you know, as one of my moves, and then step back in the shoes and then start doing my little movement, my little skywalking. You know what I mean?
Right.
When they saw all that, when they realized, a lot of them was like, man, let them go on, man. They good, man. They won fair and square. So I understand where you're coming from with that whole, you know, gang bang type thing, pass and all of that, you know?
Yeah. You know, I've always been just more attracted to more creative things, you know, and I kind of felt like the gangs in Chicago, just in general, that was their thing. You know, I just like, hey, you know what? He's a gangster. You know, hey, man, respect to what you love to do because I'm going to do what I love to do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that at some point we had an understanding, like, you know, I mean, I used to have guys coming to me all the time. Hey, man, can you do a 5-point stop for me? Can you do a 6-point stop for me? It didn't really matter. You know, once they found out I could draw, you know, like, hey, you know, can you put that on my hat or my jacket? You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and I'm just performing a service. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, when you perform that service, they linking. You associated, even though you might not say you are. They're gonna be like, we protecting you. We got you. You get some of this flag. You feel what I'm saying? And that's.
I was gonna say, and I was gonna say, that, and I think that was another challenging part to just being a Chicagoan, you know, because sometimes just because you lived in the neighborhood, you was associated, you know, even though you know that's not what you represented. You know what I'm saying? So you know, but I think the cool thing is that we prevailed. We prevailed, you know, because, you know, I was a type of dude that pretty much tried to mind my business as much as I could. And like you said, it was never 100% perfect. Some incidents did occur over a period of time. But at the end of the day, I'm still alive. I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? So some brothers didn't make it, you know.
A lot of brothers, I know probably a lot of brothers that you know didn't make it, man. I was the opposite. I at the time, you know, I told you I had moved out of Cabrini. I was born in Cabrini, but I moved out like in a year. And then, you know, I went back down there gang banging. You know, but at the same time I was trying to gang bang, I was performing in a pretentious high class society type thing. And breakdancing kind of took me out of, well, dancing took me out of it, period. But breakdancing really took me out of it because I was on the street. You know, I was out on the street gang banging, but because of the dancing, and I love dancing because it got all the women. So I was more into getting the women than out there, you know, hey, what up, Black Stone? You know, I was more, that was more attractive. Once I saw women felt some kind of way when you dance, man, I was hooked. I was hooked. I had forgot about it, you know, and I got shot in the leg at an early age. I got, you know, like what they call it, pellets or whatever. You know, buckshot. It was buckshot. It bounced off a wall. I'm over there gang banging, bounced off a wall through the bankroll, and it skipped my skin. You know, it hit me in my leg, and I was like, I'm going back to get him. But when we started breaking, man, all that went away because I saw all the attention I was getting, man. You know. So it saved my life too, man. It saved my life, and I was in it. You know.
See, and you know what? I think too. Here's another point that I find is a fact. In many cases, like I have a lot of friends, and and you know that over a course of time that were from different gangs, but some of these guys got into hip hop, and it was kind of interesting because, you know, it's like, wait, he is in one gang, he's in a different gang, and then he's in a different gang, but all of us are friends. And why are we together? And all of these guys are in different gangs. The one common cause was hip hop.
That's right. I know where you was going with it. I knew where you was going with it. I knew where you was going with it. Yep. It was because of hip hop. It was because of it was predominantly the break dance. And I mean, the music was a big factor, but the break dance was the break dance. And then when breaking came out, that heightened it. But when Beat Street came out, that took it to a whole other level.
It did.
You know, break.
Yep.
Man, listen.
Yeah.
All that gang banging shit, that shit went away. That shit went away, man. And the girls, you know, the sisters and the Latinas and a couple of white girls be standing out there, and you be like, oh, check this out. Yeah, you know, it charged you up, people clapping for you. Man, we was killing it then, you know.
It was very exciting. It's very exciting. Now, let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned some key names, man. You mentioned Salt and Pepper. Yeah. So first of all, are you still in contact with those brothers?
Nah, man. Well, you know, it's interesting. As far as Swan, he called me today.
Okay.
And he told me about that little, you know, the Bruce Lee documentary stuff.
Right.
And so I've been working with some DJs, Jay, Monty, a couple of guys as Soul Selectors. And I was out with them supporting, I think it was Mr. Magoo, Dr. DJ Magoo.
Yes.
Yeah, I was supporting him. I think it was him. And I ran into Baby Smooth, which was one of the Chicago Midnight Breakers, rockers. Okay, Rockers, Breakers, Slash. And so those are the only two guys that I have communicated with in the past 20, 30 years. The guy Carlos and it was another guy called Perez or Pepe, or I think his name was Poppy, and Carlos. I haven't seen those guys in years, man. I haven't seen those guys in years. Yeah. Okay.
Carlos, you know what crew he was in?
He was Salt and Pepper. Well, I knew a couple of Carlos guys. There was one in Floor Masters. I saw a guy that his name was Chris. He's a Filipino cat. He was a master in the headspin, and he was a floor master. Now, I saw him maybe, I don't know, 6 years ago, and he's doing well. He's like into real estate, you know, something like that. Right. And I saw him a couple like 6 or 7 years ago, and we went to high school together. So some of those guys, I kind of see on like social media every once in a while. Okay. You know, guys that went to school, that we went to school together with, you know. But as far as like really communicating with them, I haven't seen any of those brothers, man.
Now, let me ask you, do you have any pictures at all from back during those days?
I think I might have a couple from the Jesse White tumbling thing. You know, and I talked to my brother earlier. He told me about the Bruce Lee documentary where they have like a small clip of him and Baby Smooth performing in contingent with the Bruce Lee documentary. Right. So I think that's all we have. I don't have any nothing else. But I'm going to surf around because I wanted to go on the Hip Hop Heritage Museum, which is, man, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable in that museum, man. Now, down pat.
Now, hold your thought on that because I definitely want you to talk about your experience at the museum. But
yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit more about. You mentioned another name. We're talking some real great stuff here. You mentioned JD. So you know, Street Patrol.
Yes,
can
sir.
you tell me a little bit more about your experience with him?
Okay. I don't even know where to start, man. I'll start out like this. JD was one of the coldest pop lockers that I had ever met. Okay, he was a boogaloo guy, and I had never heard of the term boogaloo until I met him. And if you a real great b-boy, you'll know the difference, or pop locker, you'll know the difference between boogalooing and pop locking. Right. You know, boogalooing was more of a style of grace movement. You know, it was. You could say grace movement as opposed to popping. You know, popping is different from boogalooing. Boogalooing is kind of floating, moving around. And JD was that guy. He was a boogaloo guy. He was in his 30s at the time. I was 15. He was in his 30s, and he was from California. And he had been, you know, he learned from King Cobra, who was historic in California, who taught Papa Taco on him. Supposedly, he was around that type of atmosphere.
Right.
He was one of the top guys in California that everybody knew about, King Cobra, and another guy named Casper, which was a white dude. And when JD introduced me to them guys, I had all their moves in a matter of minutes. Everything they did, I was able to put it into my routine, and I was able to do everything that they was doing, because what we talked about earlier, that sponge, that melanin popped in and took over my whole psyche. You feel what I'm saying? But JD, they had a group called Soul Patrol. Oh, I talked to Illusion too. Illusion was in Soul Patrol. Okay. Illusion was the guy that did a lot of mining, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He was one of them guys, and he was cold at it too.
Yes, sir.
And he now works for CTA.
Okay.
But JD was the leader of this group called Soul Patrol. It was Illusion, it was Pac-Man, and a guy named Touche, who was a martial artist.
Touche. Now, I'm in contact with Touche right now today.
Get the hell out of here.
Yes, sir.
He knows Siron and Swan, bro.
Okay, so I'm going to have to call him so we can connect.
Yeah.
You know, he's still popping too. He's still popping. Man, this brother teaches. He teaches, bro. He got a whole class of people that like a younger generation of people.
Yeah.
Young men and young women.
On.
He's still.
Let's make sure we're talking about the same guy, because I got to see him if it is. Let me explain him to you. You tell me if it's the guy.
Okay.
I say he's probably he's tall.
Yes.
About 6'1", 6'2", maybe a little taller, somewhere in between there. Brown skin.
Yes.
Like a little darker than us. About our same complexion. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
He used to have a curl.
He call himself T-Bugs now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
he's still popping.
Yeah.
Still popping. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me let you see a picture if you can see it.
Oh man, I ain't got my glasses. I can't see it, artistic.
Okay. Well, this is him.
Brother.
This is a page from my book.
Okay.
And this is him. You know, he called himself T-Bugs now.
Okay.
But he told me when I interviewed him that he used to call himself Touche back then.
Okay, so let me ask you this: is he still doing splits?
Yeah.
That's
him.
him.
That's him. Man. That dude,
that's him. That's him.
That's what I say. Yeah. You see the picture right here?
Yeah, that's him. He used to do splits, and he would do the Egyptian. You know, he'd be like down doing that. And I used to be like, that's something I ain't gonna be able to do, bro. I ain't gonna be able to do that. Because when he do those splits, man, I used to be worried about, the privates, man. I used to be like, I don't want to bust my shit like that.
Yeah. He teaches, man. He teaches popping now. Yeah.
Man, you got to get in contact with him. Let me holler at that guy, man.
I will connect you with him, man. I will connect with you. And matter of fact, you know another guy named Cobra? Because both him, T-Bugs, and Cobra, when I interviewed them, they both talked about JD as well.
Yeah, because JD was a cold brother, man. I mean, I ain't giving him any justice, but he was one of the coldest pop lockers in the city. You know, back in the day, Tidal Wave had a guy called Rubber Ron. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I know Rubber Ron. I interviewed him as well. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not in Chicago no more though.
Where is he? Minnesota or something?
I would have to check, but I got his contact information.
Okay. Well, Rubber Ron, I'm gonna tell you a story about that real quick. But Rubber Ron was considered the coldest at the time. But I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. Okay. JD was the coldest at the time. There was only a few pop lockers that I knew that could really throw down. Rubber Ron was cold, but he wasn't. He was more like an elastic type movement. You know, that was his movement. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you a story, real quick. They had an audition for a Chicago versus New York battle.
Okay.
Me and my brother show up unannounced, not invited.
Right.
My brother, and they had it set in positions. We're gonna have everybody audition for pennies, helicopters, crabs, blah, blah, blah. My brother grows up for crabs. Now, on an ordinary day, because my brother was a martial artist, Swan, I'm referring to Swan, he could do crabs better than anybody. But this day, he couldn't do it.
Okay.
For some reason, he just couldn't do it. So he said, Siron, you got to go there and win it for us. And when he encouraged me like that, I was ready to kill anybody. You got to remember, I'm a young kid, 14, 15 years old. He's about 16, 17 years of age. He's the big brother. His influence is important to me, right?
Right.
So I go out there, I kill him, right? Rubber Ron didn't show up. On the day of the actual performance battle between Chicago and New York, Rubber Ron shows up and try to bogart his way in.
Okay.
I tore him up. I tore him up. He may not remember it.
Okay.
He may not remember it, but I tore him up.
Okay.
And they was like, no, we got to go at this guy. Because I had been trained I had picked up JD stuff. I had seen stuff from a guy named Sugar Pop. You ever heard of Sugar Pop?
Yeah, I think that if it's the same guy, that's got to be my homeboy Kingdom's boy.
Yeah,
because Kingdom's at the museum, he always talks about Sugar Pop.
Yeah, a guy named Sugar Pop. Every time I seen another pop locker, I was able to take their stuff and make it into something different for me.
Yes.
You know, now back then they call it biting.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to be the top dog. But that day, Rubber Ron tried to come in, Tidal Wave, the whole group, Tidal Wave came with all them helicopters. You know, they was good at pennies and stuff. They tried to come in and couldn't get me. So we went out on the floor. I started breaking against the guys from New York, but it never got through because the Latin Kings and the Latin Eagles and all of them started fighting. It was at the Aragon Theater.
I was just going to say, you got to be talking about the Aragon. Yeah.
It was the Aragon Theater. Yep.
Yeah. That's what's up. Kingdom said Southside Crew. So that's the crew that Sugar Pop was in.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember the crew, but I remember the guy Sugar Pop. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yep.
So
he came up to Michigan and got a piece.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yep.
Yeah. He's actually deceased now though, Sugar Pop.
Oh man, okay, rest in peace, bro.
Yeah. So,
R.I.P. that. Yep.
So yeah, man, this is great, bro. Like I'm so glad that you remember a lot of this stuff, man, because we're still trying to track down Salt and Pepper. Like I hear a lot about them for anybody that was around back then, but I don't know anybody as of yet that knows how to contact them. You know, whether they still here in Chicago or if they moved away. You know, nobody knows the whereabouts of them.
Yeah, one of the guys' name was Felix. It was Felix and Carlos. They called him Poppy, but it was Felix and Carlos.
Felix and
Carlos.
Carlos.
That was his name. Yeah, it was Felix and Carlos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll keep searching.
Okay. Man, I still got a whole bunch of stories.
Yeah. No, it's great, man. So let me ask you: were you aware of the event that took place in 1984? It was sponsored by Saxon Paint Store. It was a citywide competition, breakdance competition.
Man, I don't remember that.
Okay. Yeah, because we do have information on that, and we actually got pictures on that. And I didn't enter the contest, but I remember when it was going on because Saxon Paint Store was kind of big back then, and the owner of Saxon actually, became a sponsor to the event because he said he liked to see the kids dance. And they put together a citywide competition, man, and people actually took it all the way down to the Daily Center for the finals. You know
what? I might have remembered something like that. I had to talk to a couple of people, but if it was any type of competition or something like that, bro, I'm telling you, we knew something about it. We probably didn't get it. I'm telling you, we knew. We probably did you have to have money to get in or anything?
Well, you did have to like you say audition, kind of like how and they did it by community. They did it kind of, and then it led up to if you won, those rounds in the community, it led up to the big final battle at the Daily Center. Yeah.
You know what, Artistic? I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't remember that, but I'm pretty sure if it was in '84, I'm pretty sure we knew something about it because that was when I was in the heart of all of it at that time.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, when did you kind of like, did it come to a stop for you with the breaking? And if so, what year was that?
Well, my brother met a woman, okay, and he fell in love, and we kind of separated from that point. He went straight into rapping. Okay. He started a new group called Gamma Phase, and it was strictly hip hop. It wasn't breaking. As a matter of fact, they have a small comedy thing with Red Fox that's out. I forgot what it's called, but the group was called Gamma Phase. So when he went that way, I kept breakdancing. We're talking about 86, 87. Okay. And I kept breakdancing, and that's when I started breaking with Killer Cash. Okay. That's when Killer Cash and me and him started taking over the area of the Ice Cream Castle, which was the Chicago Fire surviving water tower spot. And me and Killer Cash just kind of drifted off. You know, in 87, I started, you know, trying to get myself together in school and stuff because I knew I was getting ready to graduate and go to college.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you could say about 87. About 87.
Now, did you rhyme at all?
Oh, absolutely. Me and my brother had a rhyme. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You say you was doing that. Now, did you pick that back up, or did that kind of stay within like 84ish and early 80 part?
It stayed back there because I started. I joined a fraternity, the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and then I became a Mason, and then I became a Shriner. I started going into all these social secret organizations, if you will, and I started meeting different artists, Selena Johnson, Roy Ayers, and I started singing and started doing R&B stuff. So I kind of left it.
You sing too?
Well, I got a couple of tracks out. Yeah. Man, I was trying to do everything, anything that had women involved, man. Anybody that know me, anytime there was women around, I was in it.
Let me. I got some comments here that I want to acknowledge. Most of these are from my homeboy Kingdom. So some of these are from a little earlier. He said they let the GDs in the door. We know how to act.
Hey, bro, much love to you, man. Respect,
bro. He says we all got a pass. And then he says, tell him that Magic will be a DJ at the next Chicago only vinyl cypher on September 24th, Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum. So we're gonna have a DJ, another vinyl set at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum on September 24th.
For sure.
And then he also says my man Mario Short GD from Cabrini Green was a Jesse White tumbler.
I know Mario. I think he's brown skinned type guy. I know Mario. I know him. I was the only guy over there named Caruso, so they gonna, or Siron, they gonna know who I am if you mention my name. Anybody also, from over there.
Kim also says thank you for keeping his name alive. He was speaking about Sugar Pop because they was in the crew together as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, much love, bro. Much love.
And then you remember the group called Venus Electronics that was from Ida B?
Yeah, I think so. I do remember them. Yeah, I do remember them vaguely. Remember them. And it used to be another group of girls called the Candy Girls. They was on 63rd and Ashland.
All right. Yeah, it was so many crews. It was so many crews back then, man.
It was.
Kingdom says, now this is a good question because I do remember seeing a couple of different Tin Mans, but he says, what was the original Tin Man from downtown?
The original Tin Man.
Yeah, you remember, like I remember a couple versions of Tin Man where he would be dressed all in silver. you know, and he would
Oh,
move
man.
he would move very robotic, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know, and it was more like you know, it was kind of like, you know, dance / entertaining, you know, be out there with a cup or a bucket collecting money and stuff like that.
Man, you digging deep. I don't remember that, but I'm if he was down there, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah.
knew who he was. Or
And
I
even
seen
like
him.
even in later years, it was other versions of people putting on, you know, dressing their whole body in silver and going
Yeah.
down on Michigan Avenue and performing as a Tin Man. You know,
Right. But
you know,
he's specifically talking about a specific
The original.
person.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's one.
And
He's asking the original.
Yeah, I don't know. What year was that? Can you tell? Do you know what year that was?
It had to be the early '80s or mid '80s. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When because breaking in Chicago was at a peak from '82 to about '85.
Yes, sir.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, it was
it was at a height.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a combination of popping and breaking, and prior to that, you had the locking. But between, I know for sure because I was more of I popped a little bit, but I was more of a breaker. So from like '82 to '85 in Chicago, it was at its peak. You know,
Yeah,
because like
absolutely.
you say, when
Absolutely.
Breaking and B Street came out, which was both in '84, everybody was trying to at least try to break.
Man, it was people was out in front of the State and Lake Theater, the Woods Theater, all over the place, man, with cardboards, linoleum, and all that kind of stuff, man. People was all over. But anybody who was not, I mean, that kind of passes my memory. I can't remember the Tin Man
Okay.
guy that he's talking about, but I'm pretty sure. You know, if I talk to a couple of guys like my brother Swan and Baby Smooth, they probably remember who they were. You know,
and this is why this is good conversation because, like I say, I'm gonna connect you with T-Bugs and also Cobra. I'm sure you might remember Cobra once you talk to him because they both OGs in the popping community. You know, and they
might have been before me. Yeah,
they both knew JD. You know, that's why when you mentioned him, I said, "Wow, okay." You know, confirmation right there.
JD was with us all the time because he saw we were cold blooded. JD was with us, and a lot of his crew, Soul Patrol, would like Touche would come down there a lot, and we were all, you know, all of those people who we accepted to be with us. They were all considered Chicago Midnight Rockers.
Gotcha.
So JD was in that, you know, like I said, there was 2 from here, 2 from there, 3 from all, you know, different places, and they were all Chicago Midnight Rockers.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
You know, man, those were beautiful times back in those days, man.
Man, listen. When I walked into the Hip Hop Heritage Museum, that just it's hard for me to explain the energy, the inspiration, the influence, the spiritual power that I felt walking into that place. And Brian Gorman, bless the brother, he was the perfect antidote of introduction.
Okay.
When I walked in there, man, the brother started. He welcomed that energy. He felt that from me. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I looked around. I saw these pictures. Then I saw Warp, you know, well-known graffiti artists, Killer Cash, Dinky. I saw all this history. I said, man, the world has got to see this. Why are you guys not out here? I tell you what, don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. I'll put it out there. I'll put it out there. Because all of Chicago is a main projection in the hip hop area.
Yes.
I mean, we are a part of that movement more than Cali and all them other places. We got just as much stock in it than New York and Cali.
Hello.
You know, we got just as much stock, bro. And we stand by what we saying. We can bag that shit up.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
You know?
Well, you know, my brother, that's why it's so important. And I'm so glad that you got a chance to experience that because sometimes you have a burning desire in your heart for this thing we call hip hop, but it's not projected that well because 2022 is not the same as 1983. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Right.
So you know, in many cases, people have kind of like fell to the wayside with trying to continue to keep the love burning because it's you
It's
got to kind of know what. Yeah, you got to kind of know where to go in order to ignite that fire again. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. So I already know how it must have felt for you when you walked through those doors, man.
Man, I'm still talking about it today. Every time I see somebody, I'm like, you been to the Chicago Hip Hop Museum? I just keep forgetting that doggone address, man.
Yeah, it's 4505 South Indiana, and that's the Bronzeville community.
Yeah, I keep saying 43rd in Indiana. That's what I remember, But it was the Soul Selectors invitation and me being involved with them that got me to see that. When I walked in there, it was unbelievable.
Yes,
it was unbelievable. This needs to be a documentary. This needs to be out. People need to see this place and need to hear these stories.
Yes,
because I know that I'm not the only one that's got major stories that can be contributed to the tradition and the history of hip hop in general.
Yes.
I know there's more people out here. This is just the birth pains of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We get a bigger place, put more aptitude and strength in that, man. Listen, hey, that's an unbelievable thing. And my hat goes off to you. My heart goes off to you, man. Goes out to you. Yeah, it's all good.
We appreciate it, man, because sometimes you wonder how other people are responding to your labors of love. And I tell you, you touched my heart, bro. When I seen that promo, I was like, who is this guy right here? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, then I seen the pictures. I seen the pictures, and I was like, I gotta connect with this guy right here. And you know how I connected with you? I connected with you from and I can't think of his name right now, but he's from the Three Strikes.
Big Bushido.
There you go.
Yeah, Big Bushido.
Yeah.
I think that's how I call him Marcus Triplet, but he go by another name now. Big Bushido. That's his thing now. Well, I started DJing with his equipment in 82, 83. He was the only kid that had techniques in his house, so we would go over there and DJ and stuff,
Yeah.
So I've been knowing him from a long time ago. We had a group called the Enforcers, and, it was fraternity / gangbang type thing, So he's also a big part of the community as well. He's got his own history now, and he's still moving forward with his. He's keeping it up. He got some skills when it comes to some lyrics. With some bars. He's got some skills with that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we all family. It's all connected, man.
And that's what I say. That's why everything we do is all for the preservation and promotion of Chicago hip hop.
Absolutely.
Chicago Hip Hop History. Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, RYC Live, Rep Your City, which is our city, which is Chicago.
I love that, bro. I love that.
I'm also working on a book. If you may not know, it's entitled "The Real Deal on the History of Chicago Hip Hop." So that's still in production. So like I say, man, I've been engulfed in trying to just capture all of this stuff and bring it out, like you say, and share it. There's no sense of doing what we have been doing or have done and then keeping it locked up, stored somewhere in the garage or your basement.
Absolutely.
It makes no sense. So at some point, the only way people are going to be able to even appreciate the legacy of Chicago hip hop is to be able to see it and enjoy it.
See it. There you go. And get it out there. Hey, well, I'm with you, man. I'm on board. Anything you need, brother, any kind of work you need, I'm there to put it in, and we all have our personal lives, but this is worth the effort. It's worth the effort and energy to be exerted to do something about this, to keep it out, because our stake in history needs to be proclaimed. It needs to be claimed, man. It needs to be seen, and I listen to, the radio station Shade 45.
I've heard of that.
Sirius XM is by Eminem. I was on there talking to one of the DJs. His name is Destroy, me and my son. I videotaped it. And I talked about Soul Selectors.
Okay.
Yeah, to put us out there because, hey, Chicago is powerful. Even though we are, everybody knows us as the house community, but it's a huge stake of history for hip hop. You know, they both at the same time. As a matter of fact, at one time it used to be Hip House. Remember that?
It was. I mean, that
it was Hip House.
And we even have a section in the museum because some of the pioneers of that were our friends. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and so that has a history within itself. You know, so yeah, you know, like, you know, we've kind of come to a conclusion where, you know, we have to kind of like honor our own. You know, like at one time, here's a quick story, and it's a little embarrassing, but at one time, I knew more about the history of New York because I was very influenced by New York, right? You know, much more so than any other city in America, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I realized, I said, wow, I know more about New York. And then when it started popping up about the history of Chicago, some stuff, it was a lot of stuff I didn't know, and I'm like, it's embarrassing. Like, because I was studying New York. I was studying them.
Yeah, I feel you.
Know?
I feel
you. Know,
yeah, not to cut you off. I'm sorry to interject on you like that, but I went through the same thing. But the reason why, in my opinion, was because New York was out there. It was just all over the place. It was out there. That's what we were seeing it. You know, you got a few channels, 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 60, you know, 26 and 44. Those are the only channels we had.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my AirPods died. But yeah, so, you know, I knew all about New York too. As a matter of fact, I went there. I went to Harlem and Manhattan. You know, I went out there, you know, but what was tripped out is they had respect for Chicago. Yeah. They had respect for Chicago.
You know, now here's the thing, you know, like, and I think this is what drove me, because I think it's all how you look at it, or all at what period of time you're talking to. Because at one time, a lot of us were trying to try to get deals in New York back in the day, right?
Oh, absolutely,
But there was a time where New York wasn't trying to have us. You know, they was like, this is where it started, and you know, y'all got to create y'all own industry. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like,
it is what it is. Y'all want it like that? Okay, we don't come at it like that. You don't know who you fucking with, boy. You don't want it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But after a while, you know, I got much love when I was there. You know, and back in the day, before I had money to go there, me and my brother, we were like, we going to New York. Yeah. We going to New York. We going to battle, because New York was the pillar. You know, that was. You know, they were the threshold of it, because they introduced it to us. So I give them mad respect for that. But listen, just like NWA came out with hip hop at a certain time and they wasn't respected, and they put themselves on the map, that's how Chicago was doing. But Brian Gorman he told me about Captain Sky and how Kool Herc and all them guys took that sample and, you know, used that to embrace hip hop. I was like, and he from Chicago? Oh, it's on. We talking about 75, 76.
Yeah, well, you know,
78 or whatever.
That song that was released by the Sugar Hill Gang in 1979 called "Rapper's Delight." That was the first usage of the sample from Captain Sky. Okay. You know? And at the time,
and I didn't know that.
I didn't either at that time. I didn't know it either. You know, and that's kind of like a revelation for a lot of us. So that's why it was important for us. Once we take in this knowledge, we got to share it. Because if we didn't know, how many other people may not know?
I'm pretty sure not too many people. And like I gave you my background, so you know, I grew up listening to, you know, music from the 70s, music from the 60s, 50s, from my grandparents and my dad and my stepfather. I was introduced to that, and I never ever heard about that guy Captain Sky. Yeah, I never even heard about it. I mean, that's a huge part of hip hop history. That's like a pinnacle in hip hop history. That's a part of the growth of it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. He actually came up to the museum and we interviewed him. You know, Kingdom interviewed him.
Oh,
I interviewed him. Yeah,
okay.
We took pictures with him and everything, man. And it was a true honor to sit there and talk to that man and hear his stories. You know, because I had no idea, man. And what was so crazy is I had never met him before, but I just happened to connect with him on Facebook and invite him to the museum, and he showed up. Yeah. Hey, Siron. Okay, it looks like we may have lost my brother Siron. I don't know if he'll be able to come back in or if he can switch over. But yeah, great conversation. Got me all excited. And we're into the hour and 20-minute mark of the show, the broadcast. But nevertheless, if our brother don't come back in, and there he went. So hey, it is what it is, right? But what I would like to say is, you all, thank you so much. Let me just put this back up here for one of the events that we're going to have coming up once again soon. We did very well with the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Month closeout in July, and it was a great success. So we're going to try to see if we can make this a little regular. So we will be doing another vinyl cypher on the 24th of September at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum. So for those that would like, you could definitely come down and check us out at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, 4505 South Indiana. That's 4505 South Indiana. You could also book a tour, private, individual or group, if you like. If you go to our website and go to the employment connect to the employment section, chhhm.org, Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, and you will definitely be able to see if you can plug in for a tour in the very near future. It's great to continue to represent Chicago hip hop because it's what we love. And again, I know it warms my heart each and every time having these discussions and having viewers and listeners interested and willing to just share some time with us. We're going to continue to do that, and we got many things down the pipeline to continue to highlight and represent Chicago hip hop. So just keep following us, keep engaging with us, and again, share the material. When you get it, share it with somebody else. Whatever you're learning from the programming and the events that we're doing here on the RYC Live show at the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, at our local Chicago hip hop events, encouraging and put out a great influence on others to come down and support and show their love. You never know who you may be training in the incubator, so to speak, to become the next up and coming legend. The next great dancer, the next great MC, the next great producer, and what have you. So this culture has to continue to keep growing and developing. It is definitely universal now. As a matter of fact, next year we will collectively around the world be celebrating the 50th anniversary of it being officially recognized as or classified as hip hop culture. From 1973 up until 2023 will represent 50 years since Kool Herc threw that first, along with his sister Cindy, threw that first back to school event up in the Bronx. And and we've been representing hip hop in cities throughout the world, over the course of years, in our own way. But nevertheless, the culture has continued to grow, and it's still growing and growing and growing and growing. So, and real quick, I just want to send a shout out to all the brothers and sisters in New York. I will be making a trip back to New York to go up to the Bronx in 2024 to visit the Universal Hip Hop Museum. And I would encourage all of you out there to make sure you make the plans to do that as well. But even more importantly, if you have not done so, come down and check us out at our own local Chicago Hip Hop Museum and just get in tune with what we're doing. If you have not done so, also please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, RYC Live, on our YouTube channel. That's RYC Live. If you like the programming that you are viewing here that we've been providing for you on a regular basis on Friday nights at 8 o'clock, please do send us any kind of monetary donations to RYC Live, which is our Cash App. That's RYC Live. and we'd be more than happy to accept. We do appreciate all the love and connections and anything you can do to help promote the movement, because hip hop is a movement. It's not stagnant. That's what makes it hip hop, because it's constantly moving. So once again, my name is Artistic. It's been great. And we'll be back next week once again with another guest on our next episode next Friday at 8 p.m. So until then, everyone, continue to stay peaceful, stay happy, and we'll see you next week. Also, too, I want to just send a quick reminder out to those that would like to donate. If you would like to donate any artifacts or any kind of physical items to the Chicago Hip Hop Heritage Museum, please do contact myself, Artistic, or you can contact my brother Kingdom. You can inbox us, and we can make arrangements for you to come drop off things. You can lend us stuff temporarily, or you can donate to us on a permanent basis. But nevertheless, whatever you'd like to share, we'd be more than happy to accept. We got to continue to keep the exhibitions at the museum rotating. So with that being said, my name once again is Artistic, and let me shut this sound off here. It's been a great interview tonight. I hate that it had to end so abruptly, but it is what it is. I'll have to check on my brother and see if he's okay. So one love, y'all. This is Artistic. This has been the RYC Live Show. Rep your city, Fresh Fridays. All right, y'all. I'm Artistic, and I'm out. Peace.